Welcome back to my channel. Shout out to my new subscribers. Guess what, y'all? Remember, I kept saying because it would take me forever to search for my videos that I wanted to show. And then I hit the wrong button and I lose all my information. Well, my son showed me how to save my videos to a folder so I can just go boom, boom, boom. So I should not have that problem anymore. However, it take me forever to gather all the information now. I am so happy because that was getting on my nerves, and I know it was getting on y'all nerves. You want to sit through this, having me waiting on me to find the next video I wanted to show related to the topic. But so I'm so happy about that. And a shout out to my new subscribers. Thank you. Because guess what? I'm older, but it's number up from here because I'm going to be improving on my skills as far as this technology bullshit because it gets on my nerves. I just wish stuff was so much simpler. They say technology is easy. No, no, it's not. Because I be confused as hell. Anywho, did y'all know that the Mexicans is protesting in Mexico against gentrification because the white folk done went over there and they doing what they do in every black major city. They buy the property real low, fix it up, move in, and price black folk out of their own neighborhood. Well, they doing the same thing in Mexico. So they pricing out the Mexicans from buying the land, making it unaffordable for them, and they pricing people, the Mexicans, out of their land. Same thing they do here. Gentrification there, gentrification here. So, like my son said, always start out with AI. So he gonna be my manager, y'all. He gonna be my manager when I make it big on YouTube. You feel me? So Mexicans in Mexico cities have been protesting about rising costs and gentrification, blaming the influx of foreign digital nomads and tourists for driving up rents and displacing long term residents. Same thing in black communities. Demonstrations, which occur in July and August, call for government action to address housing affordability and inequality. In response, Mexico City officials have announced preliminary plans to tackle the issue. The primary driver is increase in housing costs and living expenses. Same shit here, which local residents say are pricing them out of their own neighborhoods. Wow, ain't no different. Many protesters point to the growing presence of foreign digital nomads and the related rise in tourism as a key factor. Protests reflect decades of urban inequality and neglect, with newcomers with greater purchasing power creating economic imbalances that displace established residents. We know all about that in the black community, don't we? Critics blame government policies, including efforts to attract digital nomads, for contributing to the displacement. Some anti gentrification protests were deliberately timed around July 4th on because of the U.S. Independence Day. Protesters are demanding that the government take more action to control the rising housing costs and mitigate the efforts of gentrification. Now, this article from BBC: Gringos out. They want the white folk out. Demonstrators gather in Park, Mexico, in Condesa district, the epicenter of gentrification in the Mexican capital, to protest over a range of grievances. Most were angry at exorbitant rent hikes. I am too. unregulated holiday lettings, and the endless influx of Americans and Europeans into the city's trendy neighborhoods like Condesa, Roma, and La Jerez, forcing out long term residents. In Condesa alone, estimates suggest that as many as 1 in 5 homes is now a short term let or a tourist dwelling. Others also cited more prosaic changes like restaurant menus in English or milder hot sauces at the taco stands to cater for sensitive foreign palates. But as it moved through the gentrified streets, the initial peaceful protests turned ugly. And another thing, they want you to speak Spanish. Now, I feel the same way. If you come to America, speak English, learn English. I feel the same way. Radical demonstrators attacked coffee shops and boutique stores aimed at tourists, smashing windows, intimidating customers, spraying graffiti, and chanting Fuego Gringo, meaning gringos out. At her next daily press conference, President Claudia Sheinbaum condemned the violence as xenophobic. No matter how legitimate the cause, as is the case with gentrification, the demand cannot be simply get out to people of other nationalities inside our country. Get out, get the fuck out. Mass radical and agitators aside, though, the motivation for most people who turned out have story Aguilera. After more than 45 years of her family renting the same Mexico City apartment, the beginning of the end came with a knock at the door in 2017. Long term residents of the Prime Building, a 1920s agricultural gym located in Ladru's district, they were visited by officials clutching eviction papers. Erica, the oldest daughter, recalls the shocking news. They came to every apartment in the building and told us we had until the end of the month to vacate the premises as they weren't going to renew our rental contracts. You can imagine my mother's face as Erica, her voice wavering. She lived here since 1977. The owners were selling to a real estate company, but they gave the residents a final, albeit unrealistic offer. They told us that we could raise 53 million pesos, which is 2.9 million in 2 weeks. We could keep the building, she remembers. It's a fortune. New apartments were available for around 1.5 million pesos, which is 50 to 80,000 dollars back then. Today, her old home is covered by tarpaulin and scaffolding as a construction team converts it into luxury 1, 2, and 3 bedroom apartments designed for short and medium term rentals. It's not a construction for people like me, Erica said. It's for short term letting in dollars. In fact, before we were forced out, we were already starting to see rents being charged in dollars in some buildings here. This is Erica in Mexico. Erica and her family now live so far out the city center that they are officially in neighboring state, also 2 hours away from public transit. It is what activist Sergio Gonzalez refers to as losing the right of centrality with everything that entails. His group has recorded more than 4,000 cases of forced displacement of residents with roots from La Jerez district over the past decade. He was one of them. We are facing what we call an urban war, he says. What's in dispute is the ground itself. Who does and who doesn't have rights to this ground? Most of the residents forced out of this neighborhood were unable to stay in the city. They lose rights which are protected under the city's constitution. The first apartment I rented here cost around 4,000 pesos a month in 2007. Today, that same apartment costs more than 10 times a month. It's pure same thing happening in the United States. Same thing they doing in black neighborhoods that they've been doing. Gentrification. Look at Harlem. I lived in Harlem in the 80s. And when I tell you it's mainly, it's a damn shame. In the face of growing anger, the mayor of Mexico, Clara Brugada, unveiled a 14-point plan intended to regulate rent prices, protect long term residents, and build a new social housing at affordable prices. But Sergio and thousands like him, the mayor's plan came too late. He believes the administration needs to do more to tackle gentrification in Mexico. We have a local federal government which continues to approach neoliberal economic model that hasn't changed. For as much as they have increased the social security safety net for people, which personally I think is very good, that hasn't changed the economic paradigm by which they govern. Erica points the finger of blame at the range of people for her family's upheaval. The building's former owners for selling it to a real estate development company, the city government for not protecting long term residents, even the tenants themselves for failing to act sooner over creeping gentrification taking place around them. However, she does not particularly blame the foreigners who have flocked to Mexico. If I had the means to live better elsewhere, I'd probably do it too. And tourism has been good for Mexico. It's a source of income. Yet plenty of others, including many on the recent marches, do blame the recent American European arrivals, at least in part. They accuse them of being tone deaf to Mexican customs. Same thing over here. All y'all illegals over here are tone deaf to our customs of failing to learn Spanish, and I could say in the United for failing to learn English, and in many cases even pay taxes. The wave of well-heeled Americans heading south feels particularly galling to some when placed in contrast with the Trump administration's harsh treatment of Mexican and other immigrants in the U.S. Immigration is a problem when traveling from south to north, yet apparently fine in the opposite direction. So they were shouting Yankees out has has been whitewashed and the early morning boxing and salsa classes continue unabated, often English rather than Spanish. It's quiet, walkable. The park is great. It's peaceful. We really enjoyed it, says Richard also Brooks during a short stay to Mexico City with his wife Alexa from Portland, Oregon. As they walk through the Mexican capital, they admit to having half a mind to resettle here one day. Obviously, we don't want to contribute to gentrification. Well, hell, you are if you move anywhere. But you have to have a good job in the US, and obviously, the dollar goes a lot farther here. So I can understand the appeal, especially for those who can work remotely. Richard, who works for a major U.S. sportswear company, says the cost of living in America is too damn high. It is, and too often predicated around the idea of working until your 70s. That is a fact. Both think, though, it is possible to relocate in the right way. If you treat those around you with respect and try to be a part of the community, that goes a lot further than trying to make somewhere your own. Facts. Exactly, agrees Alexis. Learn the language, pay your taxes. Yet the speed of change in Mexico City over the past decade has left casualties. Erica's family has spun on its axis in a matter of months, and her mother has struggled with depression. As we wander through her former neighborhood streets in La Jerez, the memories come flooding back. That was a great bar called La Agrega Over there was the tortilla shop and the hardware shop. I used to buy candies in that place when I was little. Most of all, I miss the people, the community. There's hardly any families or children here anymore. Most of these small businesses are gone, replaced by hip cafes and expensive eateries. I think the soul of Honduras has died a bit. It's like you've been living in the forest and gradually the trees are uprooted, and then suddenly you realize you're living in a desert. So let's hit these videos because guess what? Let's get into it.
Americans are being chased out of Mexico, and the same people who scream open borders here are far when we're the ones getting kicked out. But here's the toy. ISIS isn't even hate. Now division is brought up in the media. They're not reporting it. They're actually helping to manufacture it. Let's start in Mexico, where the law flips on itself. Que viene de otros países, en su mayoría extranjeros, a querer imponer su cultura, sus precios y desplazar a los mexicanos, a los nativos de estas tierras. Makes no sense. Porque la gentrificación solo es un paso más a la
Mexican want us out of there.
I've seen cases where MAGAs have been attacked by Mexicans in Cancun. At least they get knocked on their head, or at least they insult them, and we are right. We know you hate us in the United States, so why are you going to come to Cancun with your offending us with your MAGA shirts and hats? Stay in the United States, you're better there. Why do you come to Cancun? Why do you come to Mexico? If you don't like us, stay there. This ain't about Trump. It's about perception. Excuse me. It's about perception. It's also about who controls it.
It's the protest. Mexicans want Americans out of Mexico, and they had that right.
Yeah, man. Big Tree posts about this, but when the Feds say you can, one thing you still think we'll believe in.
There we go. No, I want to delete this. Oh my God, I cannot believe I got all my stuff in one thing. Thank you, God. Thank you, my son.
Don't know they over in Mexico tearing white people's asses up right now?
This is Cindy's villa.
Hey, God.
That hard to learn basic Spanish, and then driving up the rents, acting like you in the 51st state when you're in a completely different country. They had enough, man. They had enough, and I'm there for it. I hope all of these gringos, all of these fools get about 15,000, get llorars, and get the hell out of there, man. Because again, they have really, really messed up the situation, or tried to mess up the situation, in one of the best countries in the world, which is Mexico. Baby, estoy aquí en la lucha contigo.
Did y'all know they over in Mexico tearing white people's asses up right now? If you don't believe me, you can go look it up. But the Mexicans that are in Mexico are literally coming after people who are claiming to be nomads. You know, all those boomers who have now retired and are looking for a cheaper place to live with their retirement. They decided to go to Mexico and try to gentrify Mexico. And they said, no, sir, no, ma'am. The Mexican people are going through their cities where they built all these places of shops and restaurants, and they are breaking everything. They are blaming this boomer generation and these digital nomads for the reasons why the price of living is going up. They said that over the last 5 years, just rent has gone up 33% because of that. They said that because of that, they are now having to choose between groceries, rent, and electricity. And they didn't wait to know that their mariachi bands can't play their music. The nerve. That's a cultural thing that's been going on there forever. Why would you think you get to go to someone else's country and tell them what to do? There was even one of the protesters who was quoted stating, this is how colonialism works, and we're going to put a stop to it before it ever even happens, honey. And they don't look like they're joking around, busting windows straight out, honey.
Well, seriously, make it make sense.
Fact.
Like you.
Oh my God, they busting windows.
And how they've made it so uncomfortable for folks in Mexico that it has shifted the culture in a negative way. They did this thing in Sinaloa cleaning up the street. It's actively, it has been actively displacing Mexican digital nomad or they cushy American job with their US dollar. Give them hell, my Mexican brethren. It's always laughable to me that white Americans never think that they're gentrifying the place, but that their presence makes the place better.
Right.
And in the conversation around the white Americans and local Americans that are in the city, people protesting you being there is not at all the same as immigrant folks, migrant folks being in the United States of America. Because let's start with the very real fact that when people immigrate into the American versus trying to make you assimilate into their culture. When the fun part about it is there's no such thing as quote unquote American culture because the identity of the United States of America in and of itself is stolen. Everything from its food,
Facts.
its music to its people are borrowed and stolen. I don't have any sympathy for people that have so much privilege that they can choose a place in which they're going to immigrate to live, be either hosted by their job or self-funded by their work, and also refuse to learn the language, eat the food, and complain about the overall cultural identity of the place when you can just, as I always say, your ass home.
Some people off, but I don't understand the outrage against gentrification. I'm in Mexico City right now, and I'm seeing protests and people destroying businesses and windows. Are you that mad that the city's improving? Step back a little bit. Never understood flags to begin with or borders, or why people cheer for their favorite soccer team when they were going just 100 kilometers or miles away from it. They wouldn't be cheering for another team altogether. It's missing a lot of objectivity. I'm in Mexico right now, and no, I'm not from here. Maybe that makes me part of the problem. But I think that it
does.
More for coffee. Pay for rent. I buy stuff at local businesses, and these businesses, they themselves pay rent. Part of that rent, part of those taxes goes to continue to improve the roads and the infrastructure that everyone is benefiting from. So I really don't get why destroying these places helps anyone. If I'm a walking paradox, so are you, because people complain about change, but they forget that they themselves are the result of change. They defend the present like they didn't displace the past. Let's take this city for example. Before it was Mexican, it was Spanish. Before it was Spanish, it was Aztec. Before it was Aztec, it was land, animals, trees, river, jungle, that was ocean. Before that, it was silence. My point is, I don't know if gentrification is bad. I don't believe it is. Maybe it's just the next version of.
It's bad when you're displacing people who've lived there all their lives because they can no longer to stay there. You're raising prices. You're raising the rent prices because you can pay more. and you can buy a place, build a place because you come there with the cash, and the people who've been there have to be forced out because they can no longer live. That's why gentrification is bad. Good for business, bad for people who can no longer afford.
Was always coming.
You need to temper your expectations, okay? Don't roll into Mexico with your Canadian thought process, your American thought process. It ain't Kansas anymore, okay? This is Mexico. It's its own country. It has its own culture. It has its own language. And if you don't come here and actually embrace it, you're pretty well pooched, okay? It's going to chew you up and it's going to spit you out. I've seen it happen before. You have to temper your expectations. You have to understand how things actually work here, how they don't work here, because a lot of things do not work the same way it works for you back home. And let's come here with a positive attitude, embracing everything that is Mexico, because if you're not, then why the heck are you even considering moving here?
Right.
That would make no sense. To really love the culture and want to become a part of Mexico.
You like being in Mexico? Are you scared? I'd be scared if I was you. You better get your ass out of Mexico.
She said, get your ass out of Mexico.
Ciudad Mexico, guys, aka the New Brooklyn. You know why they're calling it the New Brooklyn? Gentrification. A lot of Americans are moving over there and calling themselves expats. They're getting remote jobs and then they're moving to Mexico City. As a result, housing prices in certain neighborhoods have shot up and local businesses are actually shifting to meet new profit foreign demands. Remember what we talked about, why? Because most Americans,
You had to tone it down.
los mexicanos, what do they feel about this?
Oh, they doing graffiti on their businesses, their cars. That's what they get. This is the twins from Kenya.
Yesterday was 4th of July, but Americans weren't the only people out in the street. In Mexico City, hundreds of Mexicans came together to protest American immigrants in their country. While this was originally a peaceful protest/rally, it ended up very violently. But who am I to say anything about the violence? These people have every single right to be mad. Since 2020, when a lot of jobs went remote, the digital nomad was born. A digital nomad is, let's say me, I work remotely and I move to Mexico, earn in dollars, but pay everything off in pesos. For reference, $1 is equal to 20 pesos. And Mexico's minimum wage is nowhere near as good as the United States minimum wage. Mexicans are complaining that because of Americans, their food is no longer as spicy. Things are no longer as affordable as it should be, and they can no longer afford to leave their home because homes and apartments are being bought out and sold as Airbnbs. And this is especially close to home considering that my family has been from Mexico City for generations. This is where I used to grow up as a baby. I spent my summers literally walking down the street, seeing people like me waving hats, living like a normal little kid in Mexico. I went to go visit a few months ago. There are so many white people. Why did I hear a lot of music in English? Why did I hear Natasha Bedingfield? Literally every store was playing.
I'll be back.
Why? They said we go home, and guess what? When people ask me why I won't be going to move to Mexico, it's because I refuse to be participating in this gentrification of my own people.
Karma's a bitch, ain't it? Y'all hear what's going on in Mexico right now? It don't get no better. So while liberals in America are saying, Viva Mexico, Viva Mexico, and waving the Mexican flags, protesting with illegal immigrants to keep them here. You know what's going on in Mexico right now? The Mexicans are protesting, holding up their signs saying, hey, gringo, get the fuck out of here, SA. Get the fuck out of Mexico, puto. The Mexicans are kicking white liberals out of Mexico, while the ones here are protesting to keep Mexicans here. What the fuck? So the reason for this is liberal Americans fuck America up, fuck their beautiful California up, and their fucked up blue cities, and then they dip out, sell their shit, move to Mexico, right, to live cheaper. Yet they get all the high-paying jobs in Mexico,
Right.
according to the Mexicans. So they move in, everything goes up because of the high traffic of foreign people. Then they go there with their United States American entitlements.
Facts.
Title for the liberals. They go to Rome and do what liberal Americans do. Because they don't know, when you're in Rome, you do as the fucking Romans do.
All right, guys, we made it to Saturday. Saturday morning, that is. Well, it's not good news either. Karma has struck back to America. Now it's your turn to see what it feels like on the opposite side. Gentification, I believe that's how you pronounce it, okay? Meaning Americans, will have remote jobs, live in Mexico, right? For them living in Mexico all this time, now they want Claudia Sheinbaum to get the Americans out, to do what they're doing over here, deportation. That's right, deportation. I'm going to show you a couple videos and you're going to see what it's like on the other side of the coin. I don't mean to show this to put anybody down, but just to show you that, a good example of who we're voting for, who we're putting in office. These are the ratifications of what's happening, right? And it's not good.
So guys, welcome back. Let us know what you think about the episode we just played. We are identifying their neighbors and they were.
You getting ready to go to the store?
Yeah, did you get your cigarettes?
No.
I'm about to go get it.
Okay. Well, here, you want the money. Hey, and you want the cord out.
Okay.
I can go from video to video. Oh my God, I love it. But it take me a little longer to get to stuff. I'll be right back, y'all.
So you like that better?
Yeah. Yep, and then I can delete it. Oh my God. Yep. All right, y'all. I'm back. Sorry about that. Oh shoot. Okay, here we go.
Want Americans to self-deport themselves out of Mexico. Yes, you heard me right. The Mexicans are saying, hey, Americans, it's time to go home. Deport yourself out of our country.
Please tell me that you guys have heard about the protests that are happening in Mexico.
These protesters in Mexico City say cross-border migration is changing their country's capital for the worse.
Same thing we feel. We feel the same way.
Digital nomads have moved here to work remotely and also enjoy a cheaper cost of living. Protesters say the newcomers are rich of
Mexican people are protesting against the American migrants. Ironic, right? The American people that are moving into their country, bringing their gentrification ways along with them, right? They're increasing the price on rent, increasing the pricing of goods, essentially kicking the locals out. What I'm trying to understand is, how is it that we have a president that signed a bill into law where it includes a budget of $46 billion to complete a border wall when the Mexicans are literally stating, we don't want y'all here. We don't want you here.
I feel the same way. We don't want you here either.
Where is this $46 billion really going? If the Mexicans, the actual Mexican citizens, are not only stating you don't have to worry about us jumping the fence, but we actually are dealing with our own fight of getting you out of here. And actually, come to think of it, if we are cutting Medicaid, right? We're making cuts to Medicaid. Why the is there still taxes being taken out of my check to go to Medicaid? You guys are cutting it. You don't need that money. So why are you still taxing me? Huh? If you guys are cutting Social Security, why the are you still taxing me Social Security? You don't need the money because you're cutting it. You're cutting it.
They're cutting the illegals off of it. That's what they're doing.
Is this really just a big transfer of wealth, like everybody's been stating?
I'm seeing a lot of these videos pop up about Mexican people not wanting MAGA to visit their country, especially their vacation spots, Cancun and Cabo.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel.
This is
now, Mexican
Dash
really
Lifestyle, and I got a feeling about them.
Want our land back. Let me know your thoughts on this one.
Karma is a bitch, ain't it? Y'all hear what's going on in Mexico right now? It don't get no better. So while liberals in America are saying, Viva la Mexico, Viva la Mexico, and waving the Mexican flags, protesting with illegal immigrants to keep them here, you know what's going on in Mexico right now? The Mexicans are protesting, holding up signs saying, hey, gringo, get the out of here, SA. Get the out of Mexico, puto. The Mexicans are kicking white liberals out of Mexico.
Facts.
While the ones, so the reason for this is liberal Americans, America, their beautiful California up and their blue cities, and then they dip out, sell their shit, move to Mexico, right, to live cheaper. Yet they get all high-paying jobs in Mexico, according to the Mexicans. So they move in. Everything goes up because of the high traffic of foreign people. And then they go there with their United States American.
Come on, StreamYard. Facts.
Go to Rome and do what in Rome you do.
When you're in Rome, you do it. That's
so
a
they
fact.
go to Mexico with their entitlement, right? And then they work from home, work on their computer, and then they live this lavish lifestyle. Because when you go there with your United States dollar, you can buy a mansion for pennies on the dollar. So now because of that, everything, all the prices are going up. Cost of living is going up. They're over there f***ing up Mexico, and the Mexicans have had enough. So they're over here trying to say, Viva la Mexico, Viva la Mexico. And then Mexicans are over there saying, get the out of here, puto. Go back to America. Go fight in America. We don't want you here. Hell yeah. The only thing they is here, they'll just talk. But in Mexico, the Mexicans will actually make them here.
Facts.
Go around and find out. Let's get ready for them liberals
to march back here in droves because the Mexicans are kicking their asses out of Mexico. And that's
Up right now. If you don't believe me, you can go.
Yep, and they sure are. Oh, I love this. I'm so glad my son showed me how to do this. Get out. Protests in Mexico City have erupted. They want the Americans out, as they should. All right, that's it. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, and I don't blame them. They kicking the Americans out of Mexico due to gentrification and tourists. They telling them come over there, speak Spanish. Hey, when you come over, speak English. I don't blame the Mexicans at all. Just like they said, get the fuck out of Mexico. I say get the fuck out of America. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Please hit that like button. And now I know how to save my videos where I can go boom, 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 boom instead of searching and looking for them.